All right, so today's test is going to create or replicate, I don't know, kind of like a Counter-Strike bomb, where there's going to be a bomb that's started with a timer, and then we have to retrieve an item and go back and defuse the bomb. So, like yesterday, I'm going to show you what the end result looks like, and then I'll open up my editor, show you kind of an overview of the entities, and then your task today is to try to figure out, the logic behind how I made everything work. Now, again, if you make it work differently than I did, and as long as the final product is what I'm showing you on the screen here in a second, you will pass this. So there's always different ways of doing things, and my way is maybe not always the best way. And so if you figure out a better way or an easier way or just a different way, totally acceptable as long as it still achieves the effect that we're looking for. So let's reload the map and see what it looks like. All right, so there's yesterday's problem. So let's come over here. All right, so let's take a look around real quick. So I've got, this is a helicopter bomb. It could be anything you want. I don't care what the bomb model is. I just typed in bomb and this is what came up. These are two combine buttons. I don't care what buttons you use. There's definitely some, artistic freedom you can take here. But here's the setup. I press this button, it's going to start a timer, and this will explode within 10 seconds. I have to go over and get this wrench, and then come back and hit this button to defuse the bomb. So basically, the wrench is simulating me coming over and working on the bomb, so I can come back and defuse it. So first, let's do it without getting the wrench. So I'm going to hit the button. I'm going to get a message that says I have 10 seconds to defuse the bomb. So I'm going to step back here, and we can wait a few seconds, and the bomb should go off. There's the explosion. All right, so let's reload the map and run over to our table. All right, so I'm going to start the timer again. So I have 10 seconds. I'm going to look around. Here's the wrench. I grab the wrench. Now I'm going to come back over here and hit this button, and I have diffused the bomb. And now if I walk backwards and we wait a few seconds, nothing's going to happen. So the bomb's been defused, and once I hit that second button after getting the wrench, I'm good to go. The bomb is defused, and counter-terrorists win. All right, let's look at the editor now. All right, so for this one, I'm going to kind of take you on a tour of everything I used. I'm not going to show you what I did to each item, but I'm going to kind of just show you around with all the pieces that I used, and hopefully you've paid enough attention that you can start to deduce what I've done. And my recommendation to this is do it one step at a time. Make the text appear on a screen, test it, good. Go to the next step, make that button start the timer. Once that works, go to the next step. Don't try to do the whole thing and then test it, and if it doesn't work, you'll have no idea what went wrong. So when I build stuff like this, I do it one step at a time. So I will take the button to start the bomb, and I will get that done first. So I press the button and I get the text to display on the screen. Then okay, that works. So now I'm going to add a timer. So then I'll add the timer. So I push the button, the text displays, and it starts the timer. Then, okay, awesome. So now I'm going to add the explosion. So I will have the button, it'll display the text, it'll start the timer. When the timer runs out, the explosion goes off. So each thing I add, I test it to make sure it works. And that's how I go about doing these things like this, where there's a lot of pieces for me to work on. It's a lot easier to break it down because there's a dozen pieces in here. And if you throw it together and you don't test it until the end, you have no idea which piece is failing. So I always build it one step at a time. So what's the first thing I have to do? I have to arm the bomb, right? So I'm going to make a button, and I displayed a text message. So then once I do get the text message, now I need to start the timer to blow up the bomb. So I'm going to have a button that shows a message that starts a timer. What happens when a timer expires? Okay, so we're gonna have an explosion. So then I'll put the explosion in, I'll have an output on a timer. So I have the button, which displays the text, the button starts the timer counts to 10, the timer gets to 10, fires the explosion. All right, so now I have that. So then I start working on the next part. I have a wrench to pick up. So first I create the wrench that I can pick up by using the kill command. I go over, put the wrench down, put a button, kill it with the button. Great. Then I'm going to go through and use a math counter. So when I pick up the wrench, it fixes the math counter. Then I've got the defuse button. So my advice to you is do it step by step by step. So let's take a look at what all I've got here. All right. So here's the bomb. I have an explosion above it. I've got two buttons. This is the arm button right here. There's the model for it, but this is the actual button. So pressing this one is going to arm the bomb. This one here is my other button. And if I move it away, you'll see that it's just the same prop. Okay, so I press this one and it starts the timer. I press this one and it stops the timer. Right? Now the trick here is you have to make sure that this button does not work until you've gotten a wrench. So there's a lot of pieces that kind of have to talk to each other. Some things are going to start disabled, then they get enabled, then they get disabled again. Buttons can be locked and unlocked. So when it starts, you probably want this button unlocked, but you want this button locked, so the player can't just arm it and disarm it. That would make no sense, right? So we can lock buttons. So this one is probably unlocked because I've got to be able to press it at the beginning. This one's going to be locked at the start of the game. I need to get the wrench first before this one becomes unlocked. All right, I've got a couple text messages. One of them tells me I started the timer. One of them is going to tell me that I diffused it. I've got a timer. And keep in mind, timers can start disabled. So I don't want to start the time until I press this button, right? So I press this button and that's going to start the timer. I use 10 seconds. Use whatever you want. You know, give yourself enough time to get the wrench. Then over here at the other table, again, I've got a button. Underneath it, I've got a prop. So there's the wrench that I need to defuse the bomb. I used a math counter. So when I pick up this wrench, it's going to talk to the math counter, which is going to unlock my button over here and stop my explosion from happening. All right. So this is about all the clues I'm going to give you. This one's actually a pretty simple setup. It's the thing about this one is there's a lot of things enabling, disabling, unlocking, and locking. You know, when you press one button, it enables some stuff. When you hit another button, it disables some stuff. So we've got a little timer, text that we've learned how to do. We've got the math counter, the kill command, the ENV explosion. This covers a lot of things we've done during this term. So this is going to be your only thing for today, the only thing for today. And like the other one, it's going to be due at the end of the final, so the end of Thursday is when this will be due. So you've got all day today, into the night, and tomorrow, and during the final, and this will be due. I'll probably make it due Friday night just to make it consistent with all my classes. All right?